in this lesson today, we're going to look at different types of guitars. On pages 6 and 7 in your book, if you'd open to pages 6 and 7, you'll see pictures of the different types of guitars, and it'll show you the different parts of the guitars. Sometimes a picture is helpful. Sometimes it's more helpful to actually pick up a guitar and hold it. So I'll have examples of these different types of guitars for you to look at. This is an acoustic guitar. It is a steel string guitar. Strings sound very bright, very clear, and that's one of the advantages of a steel string guitar. This one happens to have a pickup in it. It's electronic, so that you can plug it into an amplifier. If you plug your cable here into this connector, you can connect it to your amplifier and make it louder. I use this in the praise band. I plug it into the PA system and they can adjust the tone to make it sound beautiful. We have effects that they can put on the guitar. So that's an acoustic guitar, also known as a steel string guitar. Some people refer to it as a flat-topped guitar. As you can see, the top of the guitar is perfectly flat. Now this guitar may look the same, but it's actually quite different. This is a classical guitar. It does have a cutaway, which is a little unusual with classical guitars. The cutaway allows you to get your fingers up higher on the neck to play these frets. When the cutaway is not there in a standard body guitar, your hand stops here, and to play these frets up here you have to really work your fingers to get to those spots on the neck. But you'll notice it sounds different. A little warmer, a little quieter. The nylon strings make it sound a little warmer and quieter than the steel string or the acoustic guitar. This is the type of the guitar that the school has furnished for you. We have nylon string classical guitars for you to use while you're in class. And that's why we charge you a small fee to help replace the strings as they wear out. The thing about it is, the classical guitar neck is a little easier to play. The strings are spaced a little farther apart, and the nylon strings don't hurt your fingers as much. So as you're learning the different chords and the different places to put your fingers on the neck, the classical guitar is one of the easier guitars to learn on. So we don't say you have to play a classical guitar all the time. Go buy an electric or buy an acoustic, buy a flat-top steel string guitar, buy whatever you need to play the kind of music you would like to play. We just suggest that this is a good guitar to learn on because it's easier on your fingers. Now, what many of you have probably seen and think of when you talk about guitar is an electric. This is an example of an electric guitar. This is a Fender Stratocaster guitar, and you'll notice it looks a lot different. It's thin because this body is not hollow. It's a solid piece of wood, and it has pickups in it. Because it's a solid piece of wood, this guitar is very soft. Unless you plug it through an amplifier, it's not very loud. And the idea is, this is a guitar that you can put through an effects pedal, and you can add layers of distortion or other kinds of sound effects that make it sound cool. And that way when you play lead guitar, this will make the sound that you want, the sound effect for the song that you're playing. And so this is the same tuning as the classical guitar or the acoustic guitar. They're tuned the same. The notes on the frets are the same. So what we're going to learn in class on a classical guitar will apply directly to the playing of your electric guitar when you get one. And you'll notice that it also has a cutaway that lets me get my fingers all the way to the top frets on the guitar. So this is commonly referred to as an electric guitar. This model they'll talk about as a Strat, a Fender Strat. One more guitar type I want to show you that's not pictured in the book, and that's a bass guitar, an electric bass guitar. This model is an acoustic electric bass guitar made by Washburn. There are a lot of different brands and makers, but when we're playing our concerts this year, we're going to need someone to play the bass guitar so that we have that fullness and that richness, the tone that it brings to have the bass note in each chord. And so I'll want somebody to learn how to play the bass guitar. You notice it just sounds like one note at a time, because on bass that's typically what you do. You don't often play chords on bass, but you can. And the tuning of these 4 strings is exactly the same as the 4 biggest strings on your guitar. And so what we're learning on the guitar will also apply directly to the bass. The notes that we learn on the 4 biggest strings will be the same notes on the same frets of the electric bass guitar. It's just 2 octaves lower. So that's the electric bass. This is an electric acoustic bass. Notice it also has the electronics in it, so we can put it into an amplifier. And some of you may already have a bass at home that you play, or a string bass that you may have played with the orchestra. This is the same concept. To make it electric, it's just much smaller and needs to be amplified to be made louder. So those are different kinds of guitars, and in our lesson today we wanted to introduce those to you and try to answer some of your questions about them.